Okay, thanks everyone for coming, appreciate it. Do you guys know this, guys, what it is? You think you can just be talking here or something? So, the point of this, series of speakers is really just to get you guys thinking about what you want to do. Really, bringing some different kind of possibilities. You know, there's the teacher, the lawyer, the doctor and all that, but we know in reality, there's lots of ways to make a living. And so when I read about Howard and his company, I thought he's kind of the perfect person for this kind of redefining possibilities. And so he was kind enough to come to campus, and you guys are kind enough to be here. So I'll just start out, you know, can you tell us your name and where did you grow up?
My name is Howard. I grew up in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, until 1996, and then I evacuated to Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. When you were an adult, you came down?
Trying to be an adult.
Okay. Semi-adult.
Yeah, I sometimes go and make it an adult.
Okay.
Which is actually okay.
Yeah, well, it works, I guess. So, and what is your official job title?
Technically, by the books under the state of Georgia, I'm the president and co-founder of Ellijay Mushrooms.
Okay.
And I put on my business card, Chief Mushroom Officer, because I think I'm the CMO. I think people take titles too seriously in some areas because people judge people based upon a title in a sense, where more people have things to offer, not based upon that label, because you can do so many other things. So I try to have a little bit of humor.
Yeah, that's cool. And this is a big one. How did you decide what you wanted to do?
It took a long time. Is this where I'm supposed to talk about where I started?
Sure. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I did IT for 17 years. And that was actually worked in a warehouse coming for a while. This was like the job in the city at the time. And then I moved to Georgia, and the warehouse job was going to go to Alabama, and I was like dating this cute girl at the time. And I was like, I'll stay here. Like, I could place you to IT place. This was back when Windows 95 came out. That like stuff back in the day, 1998. So I just kind of like my way through the interview and just found on the job and did IT at the same company for 17 years.
All right.
But it was during that time too, I started a family, so it allowed me to be flexible, and so it made life kind of comfortable in a sense, but it wasn't really what I was supposed to do. Being in a cubicle and going to meetings to hear people talk about themselves was my favorite thing at the time.
Yeah, most people, not so much.
Yeah.
If they say that they like that, they're lying. And then how did you find your way to mushrooms?
So during the years of IT, I've always been into gardening. My girls were at elementary school, helped put in farm boxes at the school. This was the time when you would still be able to put in the school garden, but you weren't able to use any of the food. So you couldn't bring in outside into the school at all. So teachers would have to take it home, but things have changed now, which is great. And then I learned that in Chamblee, like in Atlanta, they were starting a farmers market. My friend told me about it. And I was like, let's go try this. So I helped start that farmers market, and I met my first business partner, Todd, and I created a first company called Two Fun Guys, and that mushroom company cut trees down, talk sweetly to it, and inoculate it, and you take it home and grow mushrooms at home. So I did that 4 years at the same time I was doing my IT job. And IT is the airline industry, and we always have layoffs. I was just above pond scum every time. And I did that for 4 years until I got laid off with a package. Like, thank goodness, this is amazing. You're going to pay me to let me go. We're going to chase my dream. In reality, it was more of a challenge than that. But also, I found out like where my happiness was. Like, this is something that motivates me. This is something that I could control. Not based upon how a sector does or a big company buys, you know, just like numbers of that. So to me, it started clearing up the picture. I was like, all right, we'll try this. take a chance.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a characteristic of a good characteristic of a good job. It's the harder you work, the better reward you get. Yes, come on. So, this is just the list of standard questions, right? What education did you receive and how serious of a student were you?
Oh boy, I've played sports in school and I was not the best student. Everything else but school. So I went to college at Wright State for about 2 to 3 years and I was like, back to home, take a break. For me, I would probably should have stuck with it in a sense. I see some things now in my daily that could benefit me a little bit better. And some of the business stuff, but a lot of it learn. Not saying quit school, but for me it wasn't. Both my girls.
Clearly, you said not to quit.
It was my girls, my oldest one just graduated from college, and my youngest one, so she's about to, so it's their cup of tea, so to speak. But there is some benefit that's missing out on based upon school. But overall, a lot of things now learn YouTube or reading or mentorship. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Having that base and background back in school is something I think I've missed. Taking those chances that I got, yeah. I don't know if it's lucky, but work hard to figure out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like Gabe, you mentioned about starting your own business someday, you know, so I mean, I think it's, we've had people in your seat that say they wish they had taken more business classes.
Yeah, but if you don't take them, you can still take them afterwards. So I'm doing many things I would have done in college. Plus, when I was in college, it was in the early 90s, so things were a lot different. The internet is. Back in my day, it wasn't. You have so many more options, and you know, I remember growing up that you were kind of limited into this corporate thing and doing that. Now, you know, I have a sign in my house for my girls that just says, "You do anything nowadays, literally." And if you don't like it, you can pretty much switch and make money. People make money in the non-traditional way now more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. I think that's exciting. That's gonna stop.
Yeah. So what do you do day to day for your job?
So during the 2 fun guys, I still have a business. 4 years into that, my new business found me through 2 fun guys. And I say that we dated in a sense. She was married, but we dated in a sense of how do you go day to day with something coming up like a challenge? How do you talk to each other? How do you get out of trouble when you all have the same common purpose of like doing the business? When you want something to happen, I want something to happen, and we get an argument. How do we not hold it personally? And we made a rule that there's an issue, let's walk out of the room, come back in and say, let's try both ways. Learn how to say, I'm sorry, you're right, I'm wrong. You did the same thing. It's been amazing. Have 2 blow-ups, and the goal is, you know, making it the company support itself, but also empowering people to learn how to make one case at a time, different things for our community up in Ellijay, because up there's not a lot of opportunity. You have chicken houses, not that. You have apple houses, but we could do whatever that heck we want. So we try to empower the young men and women to be leaders, salespeople. If I don't have the tools to learn that, what they want to learn, I'll ask some people that I'm mentoring to or other groups that I've joined to help me, you know, enable these tools for them to grow. So it's one of the things that I thought was, I'm so thankful for my partners giving the opportunity to do what I do. I think this is my passion. I finally found it at age 45, like what I want to do. For that long time, from college where you are now to then, you know, it's floating and trying to figure it out.
So you do a lot of management.
Yeah, so everything right now is management. I do sales. creativity. I actually just hired off my social media stuff because I was doing it. I was going, so I forget about it.
Need to find 12 people to do that.
Yeah, if I'm a young fella to do it, he does a great job. Because we have been in a situation where we get a lot of, like we were on the front page of the TV after the Braves did the victory parade. They did a thing about the farm, and I never published it. And I was like, oh, it's great, but I didn't know how to celebrate wins. So now he's helping me tell that story, even though it's just a piece that will help our brand and also allow us to help other people in our community kind of.
Yeah.
So the mushroom farm is mushrooms don't sleep, so we harvest 7 days a week. Whether it's hot, cold, it's dusty or muddy, everything you can think of, it's a physical job, it's tedious.
Are you out doing that sometimes too?
Yeah,
Really?
so we have a team to do it, but Friday to Wednesday, nobody shows up picking mushrooms. Some days, one row, so our greenhouse is about 130 feet long, about 30 feet wide. So one row, like, it takes you all day to harvest, like literally just pick. But it's kind of like meditative, satisfying at the time. Yeah, put a good podcast on, listen to. Look at that.
And you culture the fungus and.
Yeah, we're actually working with Kennesaw to get us marketing. So right now, some people grow, it now is vertical gardening. They just did something else going mountains, so multi-million-dollar company that's doing lettuce. Environment. Right now, in our green. But this one we should get. One kind of tin shells.
Waste and make a
Right, yeah,
profitable food item.
Yep.
That's healthy.
real healthy.
Yeah.
Cheap food, especially a great vitamin D, go to the immune system, lower your blood pressure, cholesterol.
You guys picking up on the mushroom thing, like on social media and stuff? It's like 10 years ago, nobody was talking about mushrooms, but now, like, it's kind of a fad.
Yeah, for us, we get a lot of people like, I don't like mushrooms. Because everybody's used to that slimy stuff, or crappy stuff you have in can, that your mom gave you. But as you all know, and you go out and you have something, kind of like, well, I didn't realize like this could be so good. Or if you get lettuce from a farmer's market, oh, this is what lettuce tastes like. So I think a lot of people's thought process on some of the stuff they've had before is certainly changed when they actually take a chance to try or learn about it or eat it.
Yeah, some taste like chicken, some taste like seafood,
Yeah.
some taste like mushrooms. Weird.
Yeah.
So what do you dislike most about your job?
Couple of things. One, so we grow about 5,000 pounds of shiitakes a week, which is a lot. I need to double that. So once you start the business, you get in an area where, okay, you're feeling good about your things, but you can pay the bills and you can maybe take a check and then you build more infrastructure. You get in this valley and like crap. You sell more mushrooms. So trying to find new outlets is one of the hardest things. Get people to take a chance on you. It's been very challenging. So we've been trying to get into Ingle, because it's in our area. You have to go through the mountains, through the woods, get anybody to answer you. So challenging is that we would answer the email more, yes or no. But then also finding these areas where you can, create different products or different outlets even about. There's so many places that I learn about even today about like wood buying. this company exists. There's a place in Canada that's taking your shiitake, then extracting healthy pieces out of it and making pills out of it, supplement. So all these things that I try to learn every day that I'm like, why didn't I know about that before? So it's always like learning from and trying to figure out different outlets. Managing people, finding labor in our area, there's really no affordable housing. And also figuring out how to get people committed to that. That's with like treating them well, paying them more than the other places and giving them an opportunity to grow and learn. It's kind of one of the challenges that get staff up there.
So you don't, you have a business manager and a marketing person, and you are all of them, pretty much.
That's one of the things we're trying to be going on is, I'm okay at letting pieces, learning to let pieces go, trust people. But also you just got to find the people and then have money to do that, which right now depends on the time. And we sell a lot of mushrooms a year, and hopefully this year will become profitable, but it's just always a challenge. Yeah. There could be a month or two, like last summer, it was too hot. Everybody was produced, so I had to call Whole Foods and all my restaurants. I was like, I don't have. Okay, they might want to go check out your best friend instead and start using their product. It's a customer that way, so it's kind of nerve wracking when you don't have. So it's kind of one of the biggest challenges.
Well, that's so interesting. The next question is, what are the economic realities of choosing your career? So if people want to make a lot of money, or they want to be comfortable, or whatever it is, like we've had people here, everyone thinks are rich, but then when I tell us how much it costs to go to college and all this stuff, in the end, they don't make that much money. So if you want to do something like working the mushroom business, what are the economic realities?
So even any type of entrepreneurship, right, there's a cost to build your infrastructure. And one of the things that I'm learning late about it is a lot of grant, a lot of loans. There's somewhat variable to the farmer that will help build, get the money for it. So one of the things I wish I learned about earlier and still talk about more on is finding this and finding the opportunity that there's a lot of money out there. It's a world that I'm not very familiar with, and I'm slowly learning through like Georgia Brown, Georgia Organics, all these little groups that there is money out there, there's resources out there to help you, there's a mentor out there to help you, and then you can pass it on. So that's one of the things I wish that those pieces for the infrastructure in those parts are huge. But in the mushroom business, even being a salesperson, like for my company, when we get going, if you get a grocery store and you get 7% of all sales, you can make anywhere from even a couple $100,000 just selling mushrooms. Not even being part of it. If you get the name of our game is volume. So the more volume you sell, the more money. So we need to double our production. There's many times, like I still have a stack of checks on my desk that I can't cash because we just spent $40,000 on box. And we had to buy that many so you get it 10 cents cheap because everything costs out. Then also I need to make sure young women get paid, before me, because if I didn't have them, I'd be screwed. So I'm a realist knowing that, and I know there's money out there with some of the things, but this month we have to pay these extra bills. We're kind of short on mushrooms, but I need to keep my team.
But you sound like you have to have a tolerance for some risk.
Yeah, I like risk in a sense. I think I'm getting more comfortable and uncomfortable taking chances. I take a lot of good calculated chances. I think so. That's what I keep telling myself. Don't take a chance you don't know. And I used to be afraid of two things. I was afraid of getting no's. And then when we first started doing my first my partners was not with me because I didn't want to do the price increase. And then I was really dumb. Everybody else around me is doing it, and I'm missing out. Did it after the first time, it got easier every time. And without even anybody responding saying, oh, that's too much. I'm like, dumbass. I should have been doing this a long time ago. There's things that people tell you about, but you're nervous yourself to take that step. So for me, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, it's actually making more successful.
This is flowing. The next question is, what advice do you have?
Don't be afraid to fail. I fail all the time, but I fail better each time. I fail smarter.
Not that he feels bad, he failed at it.
I'm getting used to it. It's okay. Don't be afraid of my French making an ass of yourself and then coming up. If you think your idea is good and that idea is coming up and up again, take a chance because you know if you don't do it, you don't have another chance to do it. Because once I learned for a long time, I had all these ideas in my mind. I didn't write them down. Once I started writing them down, the next one came out. I was like, man, that's been for so long. And then I look at it, and maybe it's not the best idea. So I thought I was doing real good, you know, a year, and I got a call from Whole Foods. We sold them bulk mushrooms, which were a thing, and then we sold them like this package for them. And they were like, oh, some bigwig came in and they don't want your bulk mushrooms in the store anymore. And I was like, okay. At the same time, I got kicked in the stomach. I was like, can I bid on a 1 pound box? Something I haven't even created, but my initial reaction, the old me would have out. In this case, I was just like, my instant reaction was, how can I supplement that? How can I change that? They don't want bulks and maybe they want something packaged, so give them a different package size. So like, okay, let's talk about it. So that was 4 months ago. Knock on wood, I'm getting so much closer to the box being designed and finalized, and they should start working. So there's 30% of our business that just thinking on your feet at the time, taking that chance of being like, can I do X, Y, Z? And then, you know, it's like, as that conversation went along, trying to get fine with what they're looking for, since some big league came in, didn't want it. How can we fit since we're partners? One thing I found out about the big company, once you're in, they want everything, every option, what's your next thing. But until they answer the door, you're kind of like nobody, right? It's crazy. But once you're in, they're like, give me everything. So it's so weird. So just keep knocking on the doors. Don't be afraid to get no's. What I would say. I get a lot of no's. But another example is like I have a local chef. I'll email them, trying to get a new account at one of the top restaurants. I might email them 8 times in like 12 weeks. Maybe give a break every once in a while, and then a month later I'll email them like, oh yeah, we want this now. So be persistent. People don't always have to respond to you.
Yeah, it's not personal.
You have you guys probably all get over 20 minutes, right? Like I get 100 texts a day with different customers and all that. I miss a lot of things. It doesn't mean that you're not important to me. And I'm really crappy at following up. But if there's something you want from me, reply to me again in a couple of days, and then I'll be like, oh, I apologize. So don't think that they're ignoring. Don't think it's no. In a sense, you know that boundary. Because you got distracted by something.
Yeah, and that advice works for grad school applications, med school, jobs. I mean, it's the same thing. If anybody's worth their weight, they're busy, and if they're busy and they get mad when you email them twice, then you don't even want to work for them anyway.
That's a great point. Yeah, I think go get it. Or again, keep asking just because they say no the first time or something, it might not be the right fit. Check in a couple of weeks and say, hey, what else other things am I missing? Also, if there's opportunity, I joined the entrepreneur group in Atlanta wide as well, but organization. Through that, I got a mentor. Her name is Leslie. She owns Arden's Gardens, the juice company. And she's in my thing pool, and it's amazing to see her struggle, that I still have my business side. It makes me feel like we're just equal. And going back to kind of where I started at the beginning, where I say pilots and pilots, and it's just like anybody in the room, somebody was CEO, president, or whatever, all human different strength. So just because someone has a title, don't think like they're any different than you, right? If the same person with you, communicate like you would do with your friend, because that's going to get further than the people that try to think they're special and go to them under that title. When you approach them as one of your buddies, you go a lot, my experience, you gain a lot more trust and usually get that account a lot faster.
Because they get tired of being treated like the boss all the time.
Yeah, they're just like us hanging out much more time.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I found out.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Howard. Do you guys have any questions for him? Emma, do you have questions? Who's your friend then?
Oh, this is my dog, Marley.
Any questions? She's not even listening. She's just smiling.
Yeah, she's not listening. She just wanted to join.
I guess I would just sum it up as just try all your ideas. We'll write them down, try them out, especially when pretty much any job to make money. I support other farmers to go to farmers market, so I don't have the time, so I will do like Jamil Norman, she's in Atlanta, she actually just got her own show on YouTube, come through. She helps inner city farmers and mentors them, so I'll give her making discounts, make money as well. And then, so that's the way I can get my name out there and also be in more places that. Just on some of the things that you used to love to do, you have to figure out where your time is valuable and then help other people at the same time. And I like to share part of the pie. I'm 100% the pie guy. I want to have everybody part of the pie because that means you're interested in what I'm doing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.